It is 2 weeks from an election, and I would argue that this is one of the biggest stories to come out. And I want to be clear, it isn't just the headline here that I'm about to show you and some of the context around this headline. It is also the greater context around what Trump was complaining about here. So I'll get to that because that part of it, at least right now, is not being as widely discussed as I think it needs to be. Again, considering this man may be elected and be able to choose the kind of sycophants that he wants to be around him. So this is the headline that is getting proper coverage for obvious reasons. From The Atlantic here, Trump is quoted as saying, "I need the kind of generals that Hitler had." And that is reporting from John Kelly, his former chief of staff. That is, I'll get to more discussion, some audio from John Kelly discussing this. But first, I want to get to the Fox News reaction because they really downplay this. And it's important to use the Fox News clip here as context because they're acting like in this clip that, only if Trump was able to do whatever he wanted to do, things would have been even better. But when I give you the added context to what Trump is complaining about, I don't think you're going to agree. Keeping in mind, again, that next time around, Trump isn't going to choose people that are going to challenge him in any way. So first, here's the Fox and Friends clip.
If you read H.R. McMaster's book, who is critical of President Trump in some of it and not in others, he talks about how Mattis and Kelly didn't like the president. And they didn't think he deserved the job, or they didn't think he was worthy of the job. And they went out of his way to make sure a lot of the things they asked him to do that they didn't like never got done. McMaster would be frustrated because he couldn't get their attention. And he would say, it's not your job to rein in the president. It's your job to do what the president wants. And then you factor in the fact that he runs his own company, coming from the business world, the first one we've ever had. It's not even a public company. And then he obviously has frustration. And I could absolutely see him go, now, you know what? It would be great to have German generals that actually do what we asked them to do, knowing that's a third, maybe not fully being cognizant of the third rail of German generals who are Nazis and whatever.
Yeah, Nazis, whatever. Okay, yes, it's wild that Trump, according to Brian Kilmeade here, needed to be educated on the Nazis. But it's wild to say this. Let's put that aside because I feel like that part of it is sort of obvious. Trump is a piece of crap. Yeah, we know that. But people will argue, some Trump supporters that are the ones that I would say are not in the cult, if those people still exist, some would argue that, my life was better under Trump. And yeah, he should be able to have more control. And how dare people challenge him? This is the added context to some of those disagreements that Trump had with his generals. So from Brian here, and I'll get to more reporting on this. But the dynamic between McMaster and Mattis that Kilmeade refers to encompasses Mattis' slow-rolling request for military options to conduct a bloody nose strike on North Korea. Donald Trump wanted to start a war with North Korea. Some reporting at the time discussed this. People didn't, some people took this seriously, some didn't take it as seriously. It's hard to know, right? How serious they were, if these were just empty threats. But here's Mattis at the time, this is 2017, warns of massive military response to a North Korea nuclear threat. McMaster here in December 2017 saying potential war with North Korea increasing every day. Apparently this was legitimate. As later on in a book that was released, Mattis said that he frequently prayed in church because of this, worried about this. And then The Intercept, one of many places that reported this later on in 2021, by far the worst thing Trump did was flirt with nuclear war with North Korea. And this is why it is so dangerous to have a second Trump term, because the lessons that Trump learned from the first one isn't that, I should have done more to increase the social safety net. I should have expanded health. Those aren't the lessons that Trump learned. The lessons that Trump learned is I need greater sycophants around me. I can't have anyone around me who questions me. So Trump didn't merely threaten to attack North Korea if it possessed the ability to strike the U.S. He ordered the Pentagon to develop new plans over the resistance of then Secretary of Defense James Mattis to do so. As Slate columnist Fred Kaplan reports in his book, the Joint Chiefs of Staff created new war plans, quote, that assumed the United States would strike the first blow. This was at the request of Donald Trump. Now, we're going to get to, I mean, you may be thinking, but I thought Donald Trump fell in love with Kim Jong-un and they, exchanged love letters. We'll get to that part. But Mattis had the authority to order the bombing of North Korean launch sites. Again, keep in mind, if Trump had someone there who was just a sycophant, just kissing his ass, that would have happened. That is to start an escalation that could lead to nuclear war without the approval of Congress or even Trump. So thankfully, that didn't happen because there was pushback by these generals. Now, this is why there was not a nuclear war with North Korea. According to the news section, Kelly came up with a plan he believes ultimately prompted Trump to dial back the rhetoric in spring 2018, appealing directly to Trump's narcissism. Kelly convinced the president he could prove he was the greatest salesman in the world by trying to strike a diplomatic relationship, Schmidt writes, thereby preventing a nuclear conflict that Kelly and other top military leaders saw as more immediate threat than most realized at the time. So, Brian Kilmeade and Fox News, they're arguing that, Donald Trump just wanted people to listen to him. And they should have listened to him. If they had listened to him, there would have been a nuclear war. And those are the kinds of people that Trump now wants in a future administration. He wants people that are simply going to obey him. This, to me, is a massive story. It's hard to, this is why I don't want to sidestep the quotes about, Trump loving Nazis or anything, or admiring Hitler. Those are incredibly important, but without the added context of what that could mean, it can be hard for people to grasp on, what does that actually mean in practice? It can mean this in practice, a nuclear war. So this is, there's more from this interview. Let me just get some more audio here from John Kelly and discuss this as well.
Well, I'm looking at the definition of fascism. It's a far-right, authoritarian, ultranationalist political ideology and movement characterized by a dictatorial leader, centralized autocracy, militarism, forcible suppression of opposition, belief in a natural social hierarchy. So certainly, in my experience, those are the kind of things that he thinks would work better in terms of running America. Certainly, the former president is in the far right area. He's certainly an authoritarian, admires people who are dictators. He has said that. So he certainly falls into the general definition of fascist, for sure.
So while conservative media like Fox and Friends, they're trying to downplay the comments that Trump made about, he just wants, it's not about Nazis, it's about he wants generals that obey him. Here is John Kelly, his former chief of staff, saying, no, Trump's a fascist. This is the guy that worked directly with him. 2 weeks from an election, I think it's important that people are aware of the thread here. You have to vote. You have to vote. This is not somebody that you want to even play games with. That, again, understanding the lessons that Trump learned the first time around. The lessons he learned were, I need people who kiss my ass and obey everything I ask them to do.